They told me to let it go, that faith was too tangled, that tradition was too stained, that holiness had become harmful, that God had been used too long as a weapon, so they threw it all out. The fire, the voice, the ache that used to mean something. They threw out the structure and forgot the spirit was still inside. They poured it all down the drain and didn't check for breath, didn't notice the flame still flickering in the basin. But I saw it, the baby was in the bathwater, and I couldn't leave her. I reached in through mockery, through mislabeled trauma, through every time they told me you're just romanticizing pain. And I lifted what was still alive, because they didn't just throw away doctrine, they threw away devotion. They didn't just deconstruct the church, they buried the altar. But I remembered the voice before the violence. I remembered the presence before the platform. I remembered what it felt like when God spoke in silence, and it changed everything. So I stayed, not in blindness, in defiance, not in naivety, and knowing I held the child, the promise, the breath, the part of faith that wasn't poison, just buried. I carried it out of the rubble and wrapped it in firelight. I said, this still matters. And they rolled their eyes, they called me dangerous, they called me brainwashed, they said let it die. But I couldn't, because I'd seen the face in the smoke, I'd heard the whisper between the noise, I'd wept in a presence that hadn't asked me to perform, just breathe. So I raised the baby, not in a church, not on a stage, in my home, in my writing, in my breath, when I sing, in the way I forgive when no one sees it. They told me to let it go, but I let go of what hurt me, not of what healed me. I let go of shame, but I kept the altar. I let go of hierarchy, but I kept the holiness. I let go of noise, but I kept the fire, because I know the difference between the bucket and the flame. And what they drowned wasn't what God gave me. So I found it, I named it, I wrapped it in song. And I said, you still belong. I didn't just rescue a memory, I rescued a movement, a remnant, a truth that had been choked in incense and caged behind robes and rules. I wiped the soup from her face and whispered, they forgot you were sacred, but I didn't. I fed her silence until she trusted again. I rocked her with songs, I told her the truth they twisted, that the veil was torn, that the fire still speaks, that Jesus never handed out shame. He carried it. I taught her to walk again, in barefoot worship on floors that didn't judge. The ash she tracked in and she grew, not into religion, into radiance, not into form, into fire. And I wept because they said she was gone, they said she never existed, that the warmth I knew as God was delusion. But I had touched him in grief and glory, in the moment I almost drowned, and from where they left her, and I carried her into every song I've ever written.